The cry for help in the garbage fields, the sky above Zarek 7 was always dark. Thick smoke from old machines and toxic fires covered the stars. The planet was a garbage world, forgotten by most of the galaxy. Here, broken spaceships, dead robots, and dirty machines were thrown away. Nothing was clean. Nothing was safe. Only the poorest aliens lived here. Many came to hide. Some came to die. Mark was a human trader. He was not rich, but he had a strong heart. He visited trash planets like Zarek 7 to find broken machines and sell their parts. Most people avoided this planet, but Mark saw value in junk. He wore a breathing mask and thick boots as he walked between metal piles, looking for something useful. As he stepped near a deep garbage trench, he heard a sound. At first, it was hard to understand. A soft voice, weak and broken. Then it came again, clearer this time. "Please, help, my daughter." Mark stopped. He looked around. He saw a figure crawling out from a pile of metal and wires. It was an alien woman. Her clothes were torn, her face dirty and bruised. She had long, thin arms and pale blue skin, but her body was shaking. She could not even stand. "Human," she cried out. "Please, my daughter, under the garbage. Please save her." Mark's first thought was fear. Was this a trap? Many scavengers and criminals lived here. But the woman's eyes, filled with pain and truth, told a different story. She wasn't lying. She wasn't trying to trick him. She was a mother in pain. Mark rushed forward and asked where the girl was. The woman pointed to a huge pile of rusted machines, old food waste, and sharp metal. "Under there?" She fell in. "She's small and she's not moving." Mark looked at the pile. It was big and dangerous. Heavy engines, broken robot arms, sharp wires. It could collapse at any moment. But something in his heart told him to move. Without thinking, he dropped his bag and started digging. The metal was hot and sticky. It cut his gloves. He pulled piece after piece, tossing aside old weapons, bent panels, and slimy cloth. His arms started to hurt. Sweat ran down his face under the mask. Behind him, the alien mother cried softly, whispering her daughter's name again and again. Some aliens nearby watched and laughed. "Foolish human," one said. "Why save a garbage child?" Another shouted, "There's nothing but death in that pile." But Mark did not stop. Their words meant nothing to him. Minutes passed, maybe longer. Then suddenly his hand touched something soft. It wasn't metal. It wasn't trash. It was skin. He cleared more junk and saw a small alien girl. Her body was curled up. Her skin was dirty and gray. Her eyes were closed. She wasn't moving. Mark felt his heart stop. Was she alive? He gently picked her up. She was very light, too light. Her bones felt weak, like she hadn't eaten in days. But her chest, yes, it moved. She was breathing. Barely, but she was still alive. Mark turned to the mother. "She's alive," he said. Tears rolled down the woman's cheeks. She tried to stand, but her legs gave out. Mark brought the girl to her and helped them both sit against a broken metal wall. He gave them water from his bottle. The mother drank first, then slowly helped her daughter take small sips. "You saved her," she whispered. You are the first who cared." Mark looked around. The other aliens had stopped laughing. Some had left. A few watched in silence. Mark felt strange. Not because of fear or danger, but because something inside him had changed. He didn't know this girl. He didn't know her name, her story, or why she was here, but he had risked himself to save her. And now he felt responsible for her. He looked at the girl's face. Again, there was something different about her. Her skin glowed slightly under the dirt. A strange pattern ran along her neck. She looked like a child, but not completely. Before he could think more, A loud beep came from his scanner. He pulled it out. A red light flashed. The girl had a signal. A strong one. One that meant danger. Someone was tracking her. Mark's hands tightened around the scanner. He looked at the mother, who saw the light and went pale. "They'll come." "For her," she said softly. "They always do." Mark didn't understand yet, but he knew one thing: he couldn't leave them here. Not now. Not after what he had seen. Not after what he had done. He stood up, picked up the small girl, and said, "I'll get you out of here." The mother looked up at him, eyes wide with hope and fear. "Why?" she asked. Mark answered simply, "Because no one else will." And with that, he turned toward the path out of the garbage fields, not knowing that this one moment would change his life forever. Asterisk. What he found under the garbage. Mark held a small alien girl in his arms, her body weak and cold. He could feel that she was barely alive, her breath so soft it was hard to notice. Her skin was not the same pale blue as her mother's. It had a soft glow under the dirt. Strange lines ran down her arms like natural tattoos, and her fingers looked more advanced than any species he had seen before. This child was different. She was not just any child thrown into the garbage. Something about her made Mark feel like he was holding a secret too big for one man. The girl didn't wake up. Her eyes stayed closed. Mark wrapped her in his coat and looked back at the broken, tired mother who was still sitting on the ground. She nodded weakly, trusting him without words. Mark couldn't leave them here. He helped the mother to her feet, and they slowly moved away from the garbage pile. Every step was heavy, but he didn't stop. Once they reached a safer corner of the trash field, Mark took out his small scanner. He had brought it to detect metal and rare items, but now he pointed it at the child. The moment the scanner beeped, Mark's eyes widened. The screen showed unknown results: high energy, strange life signs, and something blinking red. Genetic lock detected. Value unknown. This child wasn't just alive, she was special. Maybe even created in a lab or born with a powerful gift. Mark didn't understand all the symbols, but one thing was clear: someone was looking for her. Mark looked around. The air felt heavier now. Every sound seemed louder. He didn't know how long he had before someone arrived, but he knew it wouldn't be long. He had to move fast. If the child was being tracked, they were all in danger. He asked the mother in a soft voice, "What is she?" The mother looked at him, pain and fear in her eyes. "She is my daughter," she said, "but not born in the normal way. She was made long ago in a place full of light and machines. Her body is part of something ancient." Mark felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard stories about advanced alien labs, places where powerful beings created children not for love, but for purpose. Weapons, tools, experiments. And now one of those children was in his arms. He looked down at the girl again. She didn't look dangerous. She looked innocent, hurt, alone. But the scanner's warning didn't lie. She was valuable. And to the wrong hands, that meant she would be hunted. Mark had a choice. He could leave her here and run. Save himself. Forget all this ever happened. But when he looked at the mother, who was shaking from weakness, and the girl, who had no voice to speak for herself, he knew he couldn't turn away. Just then, a sound buzzed through the trash field. A small drone flew overhead, scanning the area. Its red eye blinked. It had picked up the signal, too. Mark's heart raced. The drone belonged to one of the big salvage gangs groups that worked for the rich and powerful. If they found the girl, they would take her. They didn't care about who she was. They only cared about how much she was worth. He pulled the girl closer and looked at the mother. "We have to leave now," he said. "They're coming." The mother nodded and followed him as best as she could. They walked through old spaceship parts and sharp trash, trying to stay out of sight. Mark used an old cloak to hide the girl's glowing skin. He turned off the scanner to stop the signal from spreading, but he knew it wasn't enough. The girl was already marked. Someone out there knew her value. And they wouldn't stop until they found her. Mark reached his small ship hidden behind a wall of scrap metal. It wasn't powerful, but it could fly. As he loaded the girl and her mother inside, he felt the weight of what he had done. He wasn't just saving 2 lives. He was becoming part of something bigger, something dangerous. Before closing the ship's door, he looked out at the garbage fields one last time. He had come here to find junk to sell. Instead, he found a secret that could shake the galaxy. As the engine started and the ship rose into the smoky sky, Mark looked at the girl one more time. She was still asleep, but her hand reached out and gently touched his arm. A tiny movement. A silent thank you. Mark didn't know what the future held. But one thing was clear, his life would never be the same again. Asterisk hunted for saving her. The stars above Zarak 7 disappeared as Mark's small ship shot into space. The engines roared. Quietly, but Mark's thoughts were louder. The little alien girl still lay wrapped in his coat, her body weak but alive. Her mother, barely conscious, whispered prayers in a language he didn't understand. Mark gripped the controls tighter. He had saved them, but from what? And for how long? He didn't have to wait for answers. As his ship crossed the edge of the junk world's orbit, a sharp alarm buzzed across the control panel. Mark's heart dropped. He was being tracked. Not just by one ship, but by 3. Small red dots blinked on his screen, following fast. He tapped buttons, checked escape routes, but they were gaining. He had no weapons. His ship wasn't built for battle. He was a trader, not a fighter. A message flashed on the screen. Surrender. The asset. No harm will come to you. Mark didn't reply. He looked back at the girl. Her skin still faintly glowed, the strange markings now pulsing slowly. She was still out, too weak to speak, but she didn't look afraid. She looked peaceful, trusting, like she knew he wouldn't give her up. Another alert flashed. The enemy ships had locked weapons. Mark turned hard to the left, flying through a narrow asteroid belt. Sharp rocks and space debris zipped past his ship, scratching the sides. The other ships followed, but slower. They weren't used to tight spaces. Mark knew the belt well. He had traveled here many times. He used every hidden turn and shortcut to escape. His hands moved fast. He didn't stop to think. He just flew. Behind him, one of the chasing ships crashed into a large asteroid. Fire exploded in space and metal flew everywhere. 1 dot vanished. From his screen, 2 still followed. Mark breathed hard, sweat running down his neck. He looked again at the mother, who stared at the screen. They won't stop, she said quietly. She's too rare, too valuable. They will send more, Mark asked. What do they want with her? The mother hesitated. Her body carries a forgotten code. She is the last of her kind. Long ago, a group of scientists created her race using knowledge not meant for this galaxy. She can connect to machines. She can control systems with her mind. She can change fate. Mark didn't answer. He stared at the girl, this small, sleeping child in his ship carrying powers that others would kill for. The second chasing ship fired a warning shot. It missed, but barely. The ship shook, lights flickered. Mark turned again, cutting into a deep ice field. The cold froze sensors and the enemy's radar lost sight of him for a moment. That was enough. He escaped to a hidden docking station on a moon no one visited anymore. Inside the small dark base, Mark carried the girl and helped the mother sit. The silence felt heavy. He knew now saving her had made him a target. It didn't matter that he was human. It didn't matter that he had no plan. The moment he pulled her from that garbage pile, everything changed. She stirred suddenly. Her small hand moved. Her fingers glowed gently. Her eyes slowly opened large and bright like stars. She looked at Mark, confused but calm. Then, in a soft voice, she asked, "Why did you come for me?" Mark didn't know what to say. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't brave. He had just seen a child in danger and couldn't walk away. "I couldn't leave you," he finally said. She smiled faintly. A small, tired smile, but it was real. The mother spoke again. "She has chosen you now, her kind bond through instinct. You saved her. That means more than blood." Mark didn't understand it all, but he felt something shift. The girl reached out and touched the ship's wall. The lights that had been flickering suddenly turned solid and strong. The engine's hum became smooth. Systems healed without tools. She had done it with only a touch. Mark sat down beside her. Everything was moving too fast, but deep inside, he knew this journey had only begun. He was not just running now. He was being hunted for protecting the galaxy's most valuable child. And he wasn't going to stop. Not now. Not ever. The girl wakes up and speaks. The moon base was cold and silent, hidden in shadows between dead rocks. Mark sat beside the little alien girl, watching her sleep. Her chest moved slowly, rhythm steady now. The mother rested nearby, still weak but healing. Hours had passed since they escaped the bounty ships. Mark hadn't slept. He couldn't. His mind kept spinning with questions he didn't know how to answer. Suddenly, a soft sound broke the silence. The girl moved. Her fingers twitched. Then her eyes opened wide, glowing with gentle gold light. She blinked slowly, confused but calm. Mark leaned forward, unsure if she truly understood him. Before he could speak, she whispered, "Are you my father now?" Mark froze. He didn't expect those words. He didn't even know if she could talk. But her voice was real fragile but filled with something deep, not just fear, not just hope, something ancient. She looked at him like he was not a stranger, but someone chosen. I don't know," he replied honestly. The girl tilted her head. "You came for me. No one ever comes for us." Mark didn't know what us meant. He wanted to ask more, but the girl touched his hand, and the moment her fingers touched his skin, something strange happened. A wave of energy passed through his body. Warm, bright. His heart raced. His thoughts cleared. For a second, the world became silent, like the universe paused. The mother, eyes barely open, gasped. "She bonded with you. Is the mark." Mark looked at his hand. A glowing symbol had appeared on his palm. It faded slowly but left a strange heat behind. "What did she do to me?" he asked. "She chose you," the mother said. "She linked her energy to yours. That symbol means you are now her protector, her guardian, her family." Mark couldn't believe it. He was just a trader, a man who hunted for scraps in junkyards. He never wanted this. But now this small child had made a choice, and that choice had power. The girl looked down. "They made us in labs," she whispered, "but we are still children. We feel. We dream." Mark listened carefully. She wasn't speaking like a normal child. Her words were too clear, too deep, like she carried memories from before she was even born. She told him how she had been hidden in the garbage pile after the lab was destroyed. "I was told to hide," she said. "Told to wait. They said someone kind would come, and you did." Mark asked gently, "Do you have a name?" She paused, then nodded. "I was called Lyra," he repeated it softly. "Lyra." It fit her mysterious and gentle. Just then, the lights in the moonbase dimmed, then flashed brightly. Lyra turned her head toward the power core. Without touching anything, she closed her eyes. A moment later, the light stabilized and the system beeped in perfect rhythm. Mark stared in shock. She had fixed the entire system with only her mind. She connects with machines, the mother said. Her kind were built to merge with technology. She's not just powerful. She's priceless. Mark understood now. The bounty hunters didn't want her just because she was rare. They wanted her because she could control entire systems, maybe even fleets. She was not a weapon by choice, but that's how others would see her. I can't let them take her. Mark said. The mother nodded slowly. Then they will come for you too. Lyra looked up. I will protect you too, she said. Mark felt his throat tighten. He had saved her from trash and ruin. But now it seemed she was the one saving him from emptiness, from loneliness, from a life without meaning. He reached for her hand again, and this time the connection felt natural. Not forced, not magical. Just human. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Secrets of the alien mother. Mark sat in silence, still trying to understand the weight of what had just happened. The little girl Lyra had bonded with him. Not by force, not by accident, but by choice. And now, somehow, their lives were connected. His body still felt the warm trace of her touch. It wasn't just physical. It was something deeper. Something that rewrote everything he thought he knew about his life. The alien mother lay quietly nearby, her breath slow but steady. She had watched it all. She had seen her daughter reach out and accept a human stranger as family. Now, her eyes opened. They looked tired, but filled with something Mark hadn't seen in her before. Relief. You should know the truth, she said, her voice dry like dust. Before they come again. Before this becomes too big for you to escape. Mark moved closer. Tell me. The mother sat up slowly, her hands shaking. Lyra is not just my daughter. She is a key. A creation built by those who no longer exist. Her blood carries a forbidden design, something banned by the old galactic laws. She is made to learn, to grow, and to connect. But she is also dangerous. To those in power. Mark's jaw tightened. Why dangerous? Because she doesn't follow orders, the mother whispered. Because she can choose. She explained how Lyra's kind were created by a group of ancient scientists called the Generis. These scientists wanted to make living beings who could merge with technology, heal damage, and even control machines with thought alone. They succeeded, but the Galactic Authority feared what they made. So they destroyed the project, erased the records, and hunted the children like criminals. Only a few survived. Lyra was one of them. I took her and ran, the mother said. I was part of the cleaning crew. I saw what they did. I couldn't let her die. I pretended she was mine. I fled to the lowest corners of the galaxy, to trash worlds forgotten places. I kept her hidden for 7 years. But they never stopped searching. Mark looked over at Lyra, who sat quietly, watching them. She didn't look like someone dangerous. She looked like a lost child trying to understand where she belonged. Why did they let you live? Mark asked. They didn't know who I was, she said. They assumed I was dead with the others. But now they know. You picked up her signal. You dug her out. That action woke the network. And now the galaxy will come knocking. Mark ran a hand over his face. He hadn't asked for any of this. He had been looking for scrap metal, not star-changing secrets. And yet here. He was with a child who could rewrite entire systems and a mother who carried the guilt of a dead science. What happens if they catch her? Mark asked, voice low. The mother looked away. They won't kill her. That would be too easy. They will use her, control her, break her slowly until her mind forgets kindness, until she becomes what they wanted all along, a tool, a weapon. Mark stood up, fists clenched. Not while I'm alive. The mother gave a small, tired smile. That's why she chose you.